What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Just a real quick intro to what you're about to watch. This is about a 10-minute clip from my interview with Peter, the president of SGC Grading. Since I had the opportunity to speak to a grading company directly, I figured this was the perfect time to ask and get what their take is on the recent card cleaning conversation that's been kind of circling around the hobby. I decided to clip this out and make its own video because that was an hour-long video, and this part of the conversation happened about 40 minutes in. And I thought it was a very important topic, and I kind of just wanted to make sure everyone saw it. So if you saw it on the first time around, great. If you didn't, here is a little 10-minute conversation with me and Peter about card cleaning. The last real hot button thing, and this was something that was kind of filtering around probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it kind of gets down to the whole card cleaning, card prepping, where I'm kind of just I use a microfiber and wipe it off, and let's kind of we'll couch this on the ultra modern side of things to modern, like chrome style cards. What, I guess, from SGC standpoint, what is acceptable to do to prep a card versus when does it cross? I mean, obviously, clearly, if you cut a piece off, then we're getting into trimming, color touch, that sort of stuff. Clearly, but seems to be a lot of gray there. Like
Yep.
when does it go too far? Or whatever you kind of want to throw in on that. It's kind of a weird question. I mean, it's not a weird question, but it's hard to just a lot of gray area there.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you one thing too. Like, this is the equivalent in my position, just to provide some quick relativity. I am facing the firing squad right here. That is the exact question that no other leader of these other companies, you could pay them $1 million. And for them to look you in the eye and take that question and give an honest answer, that's like what they dream about when they're having like the worst nightmare they've ever had. So I'll give you my honest opinion because I'm not ashamed of it. Here's the deal, Rob. Our graders, okay, are humans. However, they are assisted by very, I don't know what the definition of very advanced is, but certainly to me, it's very advanced technology. Okay. They are trained as well as a human being can possibly be trained to pick up all varieties of alterations. In addition to that, the technology that's assisting them happens to be the exact technology you'd like in place to pick up many of these alterations. However, you cannot detect what isn't there. What I mean by that, Rob, is if you clean a card and there is zero residue on the surface, quite literally, unless our head grader was in the room while you cleaned it, he's going to put a numerical grade on that card because there's nothing there to point to. I mean, we can't just sit here guessing, making large assumptions, almost like it's too good to be true. I mean, again, those calls are made all the time, primarily in vintage, remember, is where the alterations are really, really prominent. But it's really the same style in vintage. It's if there's any sign, we're going to kick that card. However, if there's no sign, there's no
Yeah,
sign.
if it's not there, what are you supposed to catch?
That's exactly right, Rob. I like to think that SGC is leading the way on buybacks and cleaning up the market. I mean, the amount of money that I've spent, and I mean it, I'm the one who signs the checks. The amount of money that we've spent over the last year, not even on a lot of cards, but on very expensive items, taking them off the market. Um, you know, we really are, I guess what I'm trying to say, fair in that respect. We really want to do good when it comes to cleaning up the bad cards out there. However, we were once given a card where the person had claimed, I don't know if it was on Blowout or somewhere, but someone claimed that the card, I believe, had I think it was a surface issue. Oh, it looked like something was almost pressed down, imagine, when you kind of look at picture one and picture two. And we get the card back and we're looking at it and we're looking at it again, and then it gets passed to the other grader and goes back to the head grader, and then it goes in, I won't even use the name of the machine, not to give anything away, but it goes in this machinery and we blow it up on the big screen. There was no sign of anything. And the truth is, you could make the argument that whatever photo was there was doctored, you know?
Yeah.
So the last thing we're looking for is an out. Like I said, I've spent so much on buybacks that if I wanted to, I could have been, tried to snake away, whatever it is. It's just that remember, like you can only see what's there. And if nothing's there, you tell me, what do you think we should do? If
Yeah,
nothing is there, what should we do?
yeah, I mean, that was kind of, when this kind of went around, my general take, and I come from, because I dabble in both the card and the comic book industry.
Mhm.
And on the comic book side of things, the things that are acceptable over there are drastically different
I find
than
it
what accept.
fascinating.
And
Yeah.
it's a collectible medium. They're both paper slash cardboard based. And if you see, I could show you, Instagram photos of before and afters of comic books, and hell, you could send it to CGC, the PSA of comic book grading, and they will literally press and clean the book for you. You could pay
Right.
them for that
Right.
service. Could
Right.
you imagine you guys coming out tomorrow and being like, hey, and clearly audience SGC is not offering this. Send your card in, we'll wipe it down, clean it, wax it, the whole 9 yards, then slab it and authenticate it. You guys
Right.
would be roasted. Like,
Yeah. Look,
but
but
in the comic book world, hey, yeah, that's a service that we offer.
right. Well, I
And
think
then
I don't know the comic book world like you do, obviously. In fact, I don't know much about the comic book world in general. I did know that they have like restoration, which again I find fascinating. Just the differences, like you just pointed to. However, I have to think. I don't know the comic community again, like you do, but I have to think that the comic community gives its a okay to that kind of activity. Because if it didn't, they wouldn't be the number one in grading comics.
yeah,
So I think if all of a sudden just a resounding kind of unanimous feeling of the current card collectors was no, 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 SGC, you know, almost like graded, even though I put a little color under Jackie Robinson's eye, whatever it is.
yeah.
Maybe we'd revisit it, but it's just so far in because I think it's
Yeah.
been
And even
very
like
clear,
color
even
touch
traditionally.
in the comic book world, if you add, almost like on cards, if you add color or trim, that is flagged and it's put as a purple label, which is marked as restoration. Kind of like how you guys do with the authentic but trimmed or
Yeah.
whatever. It's the same thing on that side. That's not blue label is what they call like their standard label. It means everything on this book is fine.
Okay.
But there's still a lot of things you could do, like from a cleaning perspective, to get stains off, to press a book down if it's got a wrinkled cover, to kind of flatten it back out again. Like they literally put them in t-shirt presses, like iron presses, to press them back down again. That's
Right.
how they do it. But to your point from earlier, early on, the way I understand it, and I know the sports card grading side way better than the comic book side when it comes to grading. But the reason why it became accepted on the pressing side, what I've been told is because that the grading companies couldn't tell. You know what I mean? Like, how are you? So nothing was added, nothing was taken away. The book was flattened out a little bit, and it's not like they're making it like a pancake, like paper thin flat. They're pressing it back down to a degree of where it would look like where it came off the line.
Right.
It gets in the grader's hand. They can't tell that anything was done if it was done properly. So to your point that you just mentioned a couple minutes ago, how are you supposed to catch something that's invisible, that doesn't
And
air
I
quotes exist?
I can tell you, Rob, almost for a fact, this interview, as I said on the last interview, we're live right now on the TV and in multiple boardrooms. They're watching this, they're taking notes. How do we counteract this truth thing that SGC's got working for them? And I could tell you, it wouldn't shock me if they come out and start giving the answer that I just gave, because it's kind of like we were the first to the punt. Like they took the blow. We were worried what the public would think, but now that Pete said it from SGC, maybe if we say it as the big guys, it'll all be okay. It wouldn't shock me if that happens, but let's face it, for the last 20 years, this issue has existed, and all we've kind of got from the grading company is a big, hear no evil, see no evil type thing. And that's just, again, totally irresponsible. It
Yeah.
just really is. So I almost, like I said, I leave it to the card collecting community as a whole to at least base almost my own collecting opinions on. But it's at the very least, tell the truth. Just come out and tell us what you could do. Tell us what you can't do, but just tell us, for God's sakes. So
Yeah, the sentiment definitely seems to be, because I ran like a bunch of polls on this, and once again, the sample size is, maybe 1,000 voters, and it's specifically my audience. But generally speaking, the majority were like, Yeah, you could use some type of substance to get like a nasty fingerprint off or a sticky substance. And everyone's definitely anti color touch trimming, like the old school like major
Right.
alterations. But there's definitely a sentiment of people that are out there that are like, yeah, sure. If I need to dab a little something on a rag to get something off of a Chrome card, and it doesn't have any long lasting harmful effects on the card, that's fine. To be fair, there's also a segment of people that are like, anything beyond a dry microfiber is too much. You know what I mean? Like that's
And
the
the issue is we've had a bunch of Chrome cards where it's funny, like the card will grade out, and then upon going to encapsulation, literally almost from the time the card has been exposed, I guess.
to the air or whatever.
Exactly, whatever it is. Like in other words, we see that material, and we'll call it altered when it's there. Because let's face it, if SGC put a 9 or a 10 on a card with that on the surface,
Yeah, now you're on
and you
cardboard.
bought that card off eBay, you're like, thanks a lot, SGC.
Yeah.
What am I paying for here? So again, if the evidence is there, we'll be the first ones to call the flag. It's that if the evidence isn't there, how do we even
Yeah.
know there's evidence at all? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. If a corner gets messed up and someone pushes it down with a little tool or whatever, how are you supposed to know that the corner was as jacked up as it was? If
Exactly.
you know,
And don't
you're
get
not
me wrong,
wrong
my
there.
head grader, if he was here, our head grader, if he was here, he would say, "Believe me, I know what a laid down corner looks like," and they do. But I just want to be clear. You're right. Basically, Rob, it's the same way. You open up packs, I open up packs. If you think, I know, especially for a while, I was opening up a lot of retail, and it was the kind of retail where it would just be a mishmash. It was almost, the gravity boxes that
Hmm.
they have at Target.
Hmm.
The packs in those things do not get treated kindly. And basically, I'd buy a lot of them at a time. I'd open them up, and at the time, it was probably 2018, 2019. So whether it was the Tatis rookie at the time I was going for, or a Soto rookie out of 2018 update, if my card had a corner that was like this, for my own collecting purposes, believe me, I wasn't looking to grade my cards and flip them. I truly just wanted the cards. But if the corner was like this, I wouldn't just go, whoop, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
crazy. That's
We're
my
all doing that.
card. Why would I want,
Yeah.
what am I
Hell,
just
just
gonna
putting
like,
it in the penny sleeve in the top loader is going to do that almost on its own.
right, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
to a
So
degree. So,
it's an area that the hobby definitely needs to work out. And I think as the grading company, all we can do is be very upfront and honest about our policies. And we hope that I guess for the collectors watching this, we hope that that's okay with you, because that does happen to be how we feel is best. And maybe not all will agree, but it's a tough spot to be put in. And the truth is, there is no perfect solution to it. There just isn't. I know where the conversation can go. Believe me, there isn't a perfect solution to this. So
no.